Agile. Agile is more of a mindset. It's a mindset when we talk about how we can accept the changes. Like we value customer. We value customer more. That is customer collaboration over contract negotiation. We value customer. We value what they require. Our contracts, whatever the contracts we have, we do value the contracts, but we consider that the customer is the king. The customer is most important. Our need is to satisfy the customer, to see how we can give them values or contract negotiation. We work with the minimum viable product, like whatever the important features are, we try to give them as soon as possible. We provide them minimum viable product they can work on. So that is more of a agile. Since we are giving value to our customers, we respond to the change. If they have a change, we respond to the change as compared to following a plan. Okay, plan is important, plan is good thing, but in today's dynamic world, plan changes very rapidly. So we do follow the plans, but if a change comes there, we don't go to the change control procedure and waste those important time that can be delivered to the value. We work proactively, and product owner take that change and see that the business value can be delivered to the customer and try to provide that business value to the customer directly. Team is most important. Individuals and their interactions are important, or processes and tools. Yes, processes are good, processes help us, but we most of the time we forget that processes are there to help the team. It's the team, it's the people who basically work this. So people comes first, their interaction, face-to-face conversation, working on them is more important than those processes and tools. So there's a very change in the mind, in the mindset to work on this way. And working software, something that is tangible, the thing that is working, it is more important than comprehensive documentations. Yes, we can have documentation, yes, we need contracts, yes, to all those things, but the things that actually work, the things that actually deliver value to the customer is more important. Daily interaction with the team, discussion with the team. If there's a problem, go and solve it. Pick up the phone, call to them. If you can go, do that. If you can have a Zoom call, do that. Instead of waiting, documenting, hey, I want this change, getting for the approval, waiting for the approvals, those silos in which team works, those old barriers, those barriers are break down in the agile, and team talk to the customer, team talk to themselves on daily basis, in the daily scrum, so that they can work in a better and positive way. A very important difference between the agile and predictive is how the delivery is being given. In agile, we work in incremental. This means we give delivery in parts. After every iteration can be 1 to 4 weeks. So normally 2 weeks, we give something. We provide minimum business increment. Whereas in predictive or waterfall, the delivery is given at one go. The delivery is given at one go. Here the project manager can also be called as Scrum Master if you are working with a Scrum, and he is more of a servant leader. He is more of a servant leader. He is helping the teams to work in a better way. He is helping the team to work in a positive way. His job is to facilitate the team. His job is to facilitate the team to help the goal. His job is to shield the team from impediments, from roadblocks. So he's shielding the team if they are working. He's shielding the teams. He's providing them food and water, which actually means tools, whatever they require to complete the project. So a servant leader mentality is required. In the new PMP, servant leader mentality, that you always find a training need. If someone is in a pain, you go and try to find out the problem, why they are in pain. The servant leader mentality. Or you work with the team with the agile mindset. Servant leadership and agile mindset is the key for new PMP. I hope this basic concept of agile is clear. Why do we use agile? And what you need to know about the agile for the journey of process. Then we will move to the predictive part and what are the things we need to work on that. So in Agile, the most important thing is all the requirements are collected in product backlog. So product backlog is a document in which all the requirements are collected. Product owner is a person who collects all the requirements in the forms of user stories. That is syntax of, as a user I want to do this so that I can do that. So in the form of user stories, all the requirements are collected in the product backlog. Once all the requirements are collected in the product backlog, let's say these are the user stories A, B, C, D, E. The product owner goes back to the stakeholders and prioritize these user stories. They may use techniques like Moscow, what are the must requirement, should requirement, could requirement, would likely to requirement, 100 points. Like they will give each stakeholders 100 points, and at the end they will calculate which user stories have more points, and that story will become the number one priority. Actually, they are prioritizing high value and high risk, which is the highest thing there. Okay, so we get the 100-point door to voting, multi-criteria metrics, all those things. The purpose is that we prioritize the user stories. Once that is done, then the team comes in the sprint planning, especially in the sprint 0, they come and they put all the user story as story points on it. So what is story points? Story point is the effort required to complete a user story. Effort required to complete the user story. Now, agile estimations are lightweight estimation. We can use 3 techniques for that. Ideal days. Okay. Now, since it is ideal days, ideal hours, we know that actual work will always be more than the ideal. We are saying that let's say it will take 40 ideal hours. We are assuming in 40 hours we will not take any unofficial call, we will not go to washroom, we will not take food and those things. So this means we actually plan to fail. So ideal days always take more time. So we have another estimation technique, affinity estimation technique. Now affinity estimation technique is really more of a relative estimation. We compare the estimations. We use t-shirt sizing. Now we cannot quantify the user stories. We compare them with other. We say that okay, this is a small t-shirt size, it's a small user story. This is a medium, large, XL, double XL. One thing we know, one thing the team knows, that the large user story must have more effort than medium and then small, and so it goes XL. You can use t-shirt sizing. In US they use dog size. You can also consider this is a cycle, this is a motorbike, this is a car, this is a bus user story, this is a aeroplane, and this is a train. The purpose is to have a relative estimation in that. So affinity estimation. The third type estimation is basically we use Fibonacci series. Okay, in Fibonacci series, what do we say? Basically, watch Fibonacci series. 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 1 3, 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 3 8. We say that as user stories are increasing, their effort are increasing in incremental level, not in a sequential level, a linear level. They are increasing in incremental level. So we use these 3 techniques to assign story points. Once we have assigned story point, most of the time the team members have conflict. What should be the story point? The team must have consensus. So in order to reach consensus in these, whatever the techniques you are using, we use planning poker. Okay, we use planning poker. In planning poker, basically what happens, the scrum master facilitates the session and he counts from 1 to 3. Each team member take out what he thinks should be the story point, 1 2 3 5 8 13, and let's say 2 people have a conflict on a user story. Then they give their opinion. Why do they think this should be the story point? Why do they think this is the story point? Then they go round 2, round 3, round 4, unless they achieve consensus. Planning poker is a very effective technique, but there's a downside to the planning poker technique. The downside to the planning poker technique is this: whenever you are using a planning poker technique, if you have highest paid person in the office, in the that team, or you have a senior person, so whenever after the round one, people will try to move towards what he said. They think that he must have said the right thing, so they will try to move towards him or her in that arena. So this will decrease the effectiveness of process. So instead of planning poker, we can also use wide band Delphi. And the purpose of wide band Delphi is also to achieve the consensus of the story point. Now in this technique, that Scrum Master goes to each team member in secretly way, ask them, hey, why do you think this should be the story point? And then he changed the story points. Like he asked them, okay, he said this is the reason. You take that reason, go back to the team member one, and then he basically act as a facilitator in between, a bridge in between, and try to reach the consensus without other party knowing what the other party has said. So in this way he reached the consensus. The purpose is to get the story point. So let's say A got 8 story point, B got 13 story point, C 5, D 2, E 6. Okay. And now in the sprint planning meeting, this is product backlog. In the sprint planning meeting, team is preparing sprint backlog. It's a product backlog. Sprint backlog is for that current sprint. So sprint is basically a duration that can be 1 to 4 weeks. Sprint is a duration that can be 1 to 4 weeks. Normally it's 2 weeks. So we decide in the start and we take the same time. Let's say we have a 2-week sprint. The development team and the Scrum Master, the Scrum Master again act as a facilitator in a sprint planning meeting. Okay, they decide what would be your estimated velocity. Velocity is the number of story points you can do in one sprint. Okay, so let's say they said our estimated velocity will be 15 story point. Very important thing. It's the team who is saying that what should be their story points, how much story points they can do. Yes, there can be a agreement, there can be a discussion between the product backlog, but it's the team decision that is considered as a final how much story points they can do. Now this is high value high risk, arranged as a high value high risk. They said that we can take 15 story point, so we will take A, that is 8 story point. We cannot take B, we will take C. Okay, 8 plus 5 13, so we can 8 plus 5 13, we can take D. Okay, we cannot take E because we already have 15 story point. So very important thing, although B is a high value high risk item, but A is number one, it goes there. We cannot take more story points, so we'll leave it here. Since it is important to understand, when you are working in sprints, you cannot do half work. In Agile, there is nothing like 99% of the work, 95% of the work. Agile is always 100% of the work. So we have to complete the 100% of the work of the user stories. So we cannot take this thing, we know it will not be completed. So once the sprint backlog is ready, we share the sprint goal with the stakeholders, sponsors, whoever it is. Product owner also agreed this, and then we start working on it for we have 2 weeks, so we start working on 2 weeks. Now once we are working on it, we have daily stand-up. It is called as daily stand-up, daily scrum, depending upon the what terminology are you using, iteration. Like if we use the term sprint or if we use the term iteration, it means the same thing. Sprint backlog, iteration backlog, sprint meeting, same thing. Daily stand-up, daily scrum. We have Scrum Master here, we have team here. They are the person who must be there. If the product owner wants to come, he can come. This is a meeting for the team, by the team. You can also consider this more of a status meeting. We have 3 questions here, very important 3 questions. What have you done yesterday? Okay, what we did yesterday, what we are going to do today. Is there any impediment or roadblock? Impediment, roadblock, risk, all those things. So the duration for this meeting is 15 minutes, same place, same location. Same place, same location, same timing. So 15-minute daily. Let's say there's an impediment or roadblock that need to be resolved. You want to discuss a particular thing. You can have a follow-up meeting. You will not discuss anything in detail. We try to have this meeting in a co-located area, and in Agile, basically we work in a co-located environment. Or at least we try to work in a co-located environment so that we can work in the best possible way. Okay, so that we can have osmotic communication. Osmotic communication is more of a natural communication. If you and I are sitting at one place, I'm talking to someone on the phone, you overheard it. That's osmotic communication, natural flow of the communication. So osmotic communication. Now we also have in the common area caves and common. Caves is basically a semi-cubicle or a partial. If you want to do some work where you will not be disturbed, then you go to your caves. And common is a normal area where everyone can work, and that's that area. Caves and common. Normally it is in between the 10 meter or 33 feet. Okay. Some of the agile concept while you are working with that team is important to understand. In agile we have 7 plus minus 2 team member. Teams are cross-functional. We have cross-functional team. We try to get the cross-functional team. The team are self-decided, self-emergent. We have a servant leadership mentality here. Like Scrum Master is a servant leader. He is helping the people to provide the food, water. He is there shielding them from impediment. He does not let anything to get past to it. So a very important thing in here. So this is important that we also have T-type leadership. We have I-type people who are master in one field. Then we have simple type of leadership that a person knows everything but does not detail. P-type are a person who are master of in one field but they also have knowledge of other field. So we need a cross-functional team in Agile. Some of the concepts in Agile. Okay, so then we move. We keep on working, keep on working, keep on working. This is in Scrum. This is more of a Scrum framework. So then we have sprint review. Okay. Sprint review is more of a product. Here we give product demo. What have we completed so far? What are the things that we have completed so far? We show it to the customer. Whatever the user stories. Now, before going to sprint review, we have our own checklist. We want to make sure that all the things are done, and then the team also, and then the product owner or sponsors, they also have their own acceptance criteria. So you need to make sure that both things match. Your checklist is done. Everything in the checklist must, like, this must be in the product, this must be in the product, this must be in the product. And of course those user stories help you, because user stories works in 3C. You write them on card for easy working. There's a conversation on this, and there's a confirmation criteria on the user stories. And user stories follow also the acronym of INVEST. They are independent. Like one user story does not depend on other user story. You can negotiate them. They must provide value. They must be small, that they can be completed in a sprint, and they must be testable. If user stories are large, we call them epic. You break down the user stories so that you can complete in a sprint. So in sprint review, product owner, sponsor, everyone comes there. You show them what you have completed so far, what is in the product backlog. They check it from their acceptance criteria. Okay, if they accept your user story, it goes into the release plan, it goes into the future, it gets accepted. If it gets rejected, it goes back into the product backlog. If a user story is rejected, or if a user story is not completed, it goes back into the product backlog. So very, very important thing. User story is rejected or it is not completed 99%, it goes back to the product backlog. If the customer wants to add new requirement into it, the customer can add new requirement at this step. At this step they can add new requirement, and we have a product backlog increment. We basically do refinement of product backlog, that is called grooming of product backlog. What is grooming of product backlog? And the sprint review, Even after the first sprint review, we basically review the product again, we reprioritize the product backlog. Maybe a new requirement is there, maybe some are rejected user stories, and we need to see where does their priority goes. So we reprioritize the product backlog. This reprioritization is called as grooming of product backlog. Okay, and once this increment has completed, the things that has been completed we call it as product increment. We got product backlog, sprint backlog, and third document as product increment. Increment in the products one by one. Okay, and then we work. Then once this is done, then the team sit together to do sprint retrospective. Sprint retrospective is a lesson learned workshop. Sprint retrospective is more of a lesson learned workshop. In the sprint retrospective, we work, we see what have we done. We try to get improvements. We do the root cause analysis, and we suggest what are the improvements that can be implemented in the next sprint. It has 5 stages. Set the stage. You set the stage. Okay, here the team is certain stage. What can be expected? How long is going to be? What is expected of this retrospective? Then we gather data. We gather the data around the entire sprint so that we can do the root cause analysis. And then third, we generate insights. That is, we do the root cause analysis. In the fourth step, we decide what to do. We decide 1 or 2 improvements. Like it has a format, what we should do more of, what we should do less of, what we should start doing, what should we do stop doing. And then finally we close the retrospective. We thank everyone and all, and everyone goes back to their work. So this is the framework of the Scrum. If you can look at this, from product backlog, sprint backlog, then daily stand-up, 3 questions, sprint review, sprint retrospective. If you know this thing, you know Scrum, and you know Scrum is a lightweight. Daily stand-up, the purpose of daily stand-up is to inspect and adopt, and is one of the fundamentals of Scrum to transparency, inspection, adoption. This is the very important part for the PMP, especially for the Agile portion. First, journey of Agile that we clarified in detail. So this was journey of Agile. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe it. Click that like icon, that button icon, and share it with your friends who are preparing for PMP exam. Our commitment to PMP is going to explode on LinkedIn, YouTube, and all those material. You see, we want you to become certified PMP, and if this material helps and you become certified, great. And if you want to join our program, we have one-to-one program that is customized according to your requirement, or you can join our batch program that starts every month. We have one batch program in 1 month. Contact us on the numbers given in the description to which program suits you. Thank you very much. Stay blessed.